Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Transformers Generations Age of the Primes, the 13 Alchemist Prime. This is the fourth Prime we've gotten of the 13 in the line so far. Alchemist Prime in vehicle mode looks pretty unassuming. I actually do like that. Out of all the Primes, especially with the lore about him and the story that was told with him in Transformers Cyberverse, I really dig that he just transforms into like a very unassuming vehicle mode. It's kind of a fun little nod to the secrets behind the character. He does come with these lens blade things. It's got his like symbol from I think this was from like the 5 Faces of Evil, and it can combine to form like a pair of teeny tiny little, like a pince nez almost. But the vehicle mode is like a Cybertronian troop transport / SUV. Kind of gives me Humvee vibes. I imagine like in practicality, this would be like a soft top on the back end kind of thing. I do like that we have this transparent detail on the windshield. The black paint helps. The gold and silver paint also helps. I do wish there was some paint on the rims. I do like the clearance that we got here. I feel like other versions of this design, and doesn't share a mold with anyone, but it makes me think of things like Trailbreaker and Hoist, and they had clearance issues. I'm really glad it's so clean here. There's not much else to say about this mode, but he can, if we put his weapons back on him, he can hang out with his other buddies. And we have, like I said, 4 Primes from Age of the Primes so far. We now have 2 Deluxes, 1 Voyager, and 1 Leader. And I am liking how the whole group looks as a set. Obviously, there's also Vector Prime, but I'm not going to include Vector Prime. I just feel like the Legacy Vector Prime doesn't actually match the rest of these toys very well. I think that overall, unfortunately, Solus Prime is my least favorite. That transformation is just so fiddly. There's so many little bits and bobs that come undone. Maybe it's quality control issues on mine, but a lot of people have had those problems. I think it's going to be hard to take away Megatronus Prime's title as my favorite. But I might like this guy about the same as Prima Prime. I think it's kind of neat that we have a Voyager truck thing and then a deluxe truck thing. And I think they, again, as a group, do look pretty good together. It's nice to see the 13 shaping up like this. Transformation is pretty simple on this guy. We're going to pop up our lens blades. We're going to open up right here on his back of his truck mode. That lets us bring these legs down and out of the way so that we can take these shoulder pieces and move them out of the way. We can open up the feet, split things out, close up these legs, and they do click in pretty nicely. We can take the windshield and we can bring it up. It is on a tight joint, but it can come up like so, allowing us to rotate this waist. Before we do anything else, we can come in and we can open up his robot torso, flip out his head, and then we can bring up and around his shoulders, and they'll clip on nicely on either side, like so. And then we can flip out his hands. Now the hands I do want to mention, if you noticed, my hands kind of stuck out in vehicle mode. That was intentional because there is a stress issue. The way these things want to fold, we'll take this out, you kind of feel like it should fold all the way down, but if you go past this point, there is a notch of plastic that hopefully I can show. There we go. That BR gets in the way where that hole is. The molding around that hole gets in the way of this transformation. There's enough plastic there that if you try and smush it, you'll see I've already created a stress mark on my plastic, which is really, really annoying and really, really frustrating. I am already getting this replaced because that sucks, but that is not a quality control issue. That is fundamentally a design issue. So watch out for that on your Alchemist Primes. You essentially cannot fully collapse these hand pieces. If you come in here and try and remove plastic, you're basically removing all the plastic that this joint is made out of. So it's not something you can really fix either, unless The alternate would be to remove the the green plastic around the hole, but then you'll have a non-functioning little hole here. You can take these blade pieces. They can form like blade gauntlets on his fists, which I do think is kind of neat. I like that look. And he is just like this unassuming little bot. It's just a nice little deluxe. I think it evokes some of the things that I like about Alchemist Prime. I would have preferred if this was gray like it is, but then with orange accents instead of green accents. I just would have loved if they made this Alchemist Prime from Cyberverse specifically. I think that would have been really cool. But as he is, especially with his lovely head sculpt that I think is just terrific, I think he does homage that design and that story that has been told with Alchemist Prime, especially with his kind of chunky body. But he displays as this unassuming deluxe bot. He definitely looks the least primey of the primes. He does have some decent articulation. I like that his neck is double jointed. The arms can go 360 at the shoulder. They can go out 90 degrees. There is bicep swivel here. They can bend 90 or so. There is no wrist swivel because of the way it transforms. There is waist swivel, which I do really appreciate that that's there. He can do a full Van Damme. He can kick up plenty high. He can kick back plenty high, so I like that. He can go a little deeper than 90 degrees, maybe perfectly 90 degrees on the knee bend. He does have thigh swivel, and he does have ankle tilt. So all the basic points of articulation to get your bot together. And the other important thing he can do is he can take his symbol, his spectacles, his lenses, Alchemist Prime's lenses, I think was what we call them, and he can jam them together so he can like do this. And it looks like he's wearing a giant pair of comedy glasses. I don't know. It's a silly thing, but for him to be like a silly little guy, to be one of the primes that in the stories that they've told us that involve actual, like the 13, to be still around Cyberverse, to be still around Cybertron and kicking is really, really neat. And I think he looks good with the rest of his boys and girls. Once again, getting the 4 of the 13 primes we have so far together. It is coming together in a really satisfying way. I think that while Alchemist Prime is not the standout figure, he does, or character really. I mean, I'd say he's more of a cool character than Prima. But he helps bring that cohesive like unity of the 13 together. I think that having just a solid deluxe helps Megatronus and even Prima to some extent like accentuate themselves. I'm really looking forward to Onyx. I'm really looking forward to getting more of the 13. But that is a look at Transformers Generations Age of the Primes, the 13 Alchemist Prime. Once again, my recommendation is, if you like him, pick him up. If you're trying to get the 13, pick him up. But beware about the stress marks due to the transformation on his fists. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Bye!